Hey everybody, it's Miss Sarah here, and I'm glad you joined me. I wanted to join you for a Memorial Day weekend special story time. So Memorial Day is a little bit different this year. A lot of times there are parades, we have memorial services to remember our fallen soldiers. This year, a lot of that's going to be not in person. We won't be going down to Coraopolis to watch the big parade. We might not be having a huge picnic or anything, but Memorial Day is still a day to remember our soldiers who fought for us. And I have a story to share with you today, and it is called the Memorial Day Surprise. It's by Teresa Martin Golding, and it's illustrated by Alexandra Artigas. Is it a really big surprise, Mama? Asked Marco. Oh yes, said Mama. It is a very big surprise, but we must hurry. The parade will start soon. Marco held Mama's hand tightly and walked faster. Many people were leaving the porches of their brick row houses. Children skipped down the steps of the big apartment building. Abuela, Marco's grandfather, lived there on the 5th floor, but Mama said there was no time to stop. What could be the surprise that made Mama rush so? They always stopped to visit Abuelo. Marco watched the flags dance in the breeze. What is Memory Day, Mama? He asked. Mama smiled. It is called Memorial Day, she said, but Memory Day is a good name too. It's a time to remember some special people. Well, Mama, you will see, she said. Beep, beep. Two girls swooped past Marco. Red and blue streamers floated from their bicycles and swished in the wind. Everyone was in a hurry to get to the parade. When they reached the avenue, Marco's eyes opened wide. All the stores where Mama liked to shop were closed. The sidewalks were crowded with people sitting on folding chairs or colorful blankets. Two boys were even sitting on top of the big blue mailbox. Marco heard someone calling his name. Look, Mama! He pointed across the wide avenue. Jenna is here too. Is this a surprise? No, Marco, Mama answered. The surprise is even more special than seeing your best friend at the parade. Marco sat on the curb with Jenna. The sun was hot on the top of his head. The big avenue seemed different without its zooming cars and rumbling trucks. It was like rushing a river that ran out of water. Marco jumped up. Did you hear that? He asked. The faint brum bum bum of a drum sounded in the distance. Brum bum bum brum bum bum brum bum bum. Marco held his breath as the band marched closer and stopped right in front of him. The leader slowly raised his baton and the music burst into the air. Horns and drums, the clash of cymbals. Marco stood very still. The music was inside of him, alive and jumping in his chest. Boom, boom. He felt thunder in his stomach. Crash, crash. It tingled down his arms. Batons flew in the air. Pom-poms swooshed. Feet stamped in rhythm, and the band moved on. Marco wished Abuelo could have heard the music. Maybe it would have made his legs tingle again. Was that the surprise, Mama? Was it? Was it? No, Marco, Mama said. The surprise is even more special than the marching band. A siren screamed and Marco jumped. A long red fire engine rolled down the avenue, its lights spinning and flashing. A firefighter walked beside the big engine. He stopped and shook Marco's hand. He gave Marco a little flag. Marco waved the flag at the noisy fire truck. Was that the surprise, Mama? Mama shook her head. No, Marco, the surprise is even more special than meeting a real firefighter. Look, Jenna shouted. A truck was pulling a big float right down the street. It was the Statue of Liberty. A man with a dark beard stood in front of the statue. With his tall hat and long face, he looked just like Abraham Lincoln. Jenna frowned. They are throwing things at people, she said. That's not nice. It's candy, screamed Marco. Marco and Jenna ran, dropped to the ground, and scooped up all the candy that fell at their feet. Mama, look! Marco opened his fist and showed her all the sweets he had collected. That was a surprise, wasn't it? No, Marco, Mama said. The surprise is even more special than catching candy at the parade. Marco put a butterscotch into his pocket. He would give it to Abuelo when he told him all about this parade. What was happening? All the people stood up and began clapping. Marco could not see. There were no sirens, no band, and no falling candy. Still, the clapping became louder. Men and women in uniforms with shiny medals came marching down the avenue. Right up in the very front was Marco's grandfather. Abuelo! Marco shouted and waved his hands. Why is your grandfather in the parade? Jenna asked. Marco stood tall. My grandfather is a hero. Abuelo put out his arms and Marco ran and climbed into his lap. Happy Memorial Day, Marco, Abuelo said. Marco threw his arms around Abuelo's neck. Happy Memory Day, Abuelo. He took the butterscotch out of his pocket and pressed it into his grandfather's warm hand. Marco did not need to ask Mama. He knew this was the best Memory Day surprise of all. The end. Thanks for joining me.